Hi, I'm Adam from Airtrade Audio, and this is a brief glimpse into the very messy at the moment workshop with a little project I've got running, which is interesting enough that I thought I'd share something of it. What I'm building here is a line level preamp. It's got a gain stage with negative feedback to reduce the gain, followed by a cathode follower for the output. This is the circuit for it. So you can have a look at that, and very, very simple kind of topology. And I've breadboarded it here, and I've got the output of it running into a little desktop class D amp here, and so there it goes. And YouTube can hit me with a copyright warning right about now. I've got the oscilloscope set up here so we can see the waveforms coming off it. So that all looks good. So there's the preamp that's being breadboarded at the moment. And the tubes we're using are a pair of 6N6P, so they're Russian dual triodes. I've only got one channel done here, so I could actually just do this on one tube, but I'm using two. And our main B plus coming off my nasty power supply here. Our main B plus is 353 or so. But we can look at what that is for each stage. So our cathode follower, which is the output, is getting around about 290 volts or so. And the gain stage, which is on the input, is getting around 243 or so. And as you saw before, the main B plus here is 352. Okay, and everything works nicely. Let's start this music one more time.
They have big teeth. Will they bite you? That you said that you would always be in love, but you're not in love no more. Did it frighten you? How we kissed when we...
Okay, and so the sound is coming from the computer and the output is going to this nasty little Class D amplifier that I got from AliExpress, which is advertised as its best feature is that it doesn't explode, which it's a quality I normally look for in electronics gear, really. And that's just running into a pair of speakers up on the wall there. And that all works nicely. But you can see my B plus here, as I said, is 350 volts or so, and that's dropped down. And most people tend to think that tubes need that kind of voltage. But I'm going to try an experiment here today. So hopefully you can see our voltmeter there with the B plus voltage showing 352. And we saw that the amplifier was working nicely, running on that kind of voltage. Let's try a little experiment with it. This is my lovely high voltage power supply. Let's take that out of there, and we can see that there's some capacitors on this side, and so the voltage is dropping down 50, 40, 30, 20. So these tubes have still got their 6 volts, so the filaments are still going, the heaters are still going. We're down to 10 volts now, 9, 8, 7. And if I turn the Spotify back on, there is actually something going through it, but it's very, very low, almost nothing. So, this guy over here is an ordinary bench top DC power supply of the type that you might use for little solid state projects. 5 volts to 20 volts variable supply. What happens if I turn on this power supply and make our B plus voltage 20 volts? What could possibly be happening here? $21 B plus.
Sometimes I wake up in a different bedroom.
12 volts B plus, which means that our cathode follower, I don't have to be so careful now, our cathode follower is getting 11.3 volts and our gain stage is getting 10 volts. And we end up with signal. So this little phenomenon amused me enough that I thought I might share that, because there is this idea that valves, vacuum tubes, need high voltages, 200, 300 volts to run. And whilst that kind of voltage puts them in their most linear operating position, this little experiment has demonstrated that, in fact, provided you keep the heaters on, the filaments on, some tubes will actually run and provide a meaningful signal at voltages much, much lower, traditionally connected with or associated with solid state electronics, rather than vacuum tube valve electronics. So I just thought I'd share that. Of course, this amplifier will be running on a B+ voltage of around about 270 when it's finally finished, and this is just a breadboard prototype, but it amused me sufficiently to warrant making this video. Hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you.